Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Thursday to everyone. This is Rural Community Solutions, where we help you design family-friendly, youth-centered places that thrive. We are so glad that you have joined us either online or on the podcast. My name is Kim Spillers.
And I'm Frank Spillers. And today is a little different. We're not going to do our opening if you are following us.
If you're a fan.
Well, even if you're not a fan, but you have catch that. We usually do that short 2-minute video, minute and a half video of how communities were formed. Somebody jumped off a wagon, planted their flag, and said, this is where I want my community, and then recruited people to come, attracted people to come to their community. But today we're a little bit different. That's still how your community was formed. That's still how your business was formed. You had an idea, you planted the flag, and you invited and attracted people. But what if that business failed? What if you have gone through failure? You know, going through school, we do not teach kids how to fail successfully. We wait until after everybody gets out of school to teach them how to fail successfully. Or we learn how to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and move on. But what about the community environment to where failure is there? How do you pay attention to failure? You might have a revolving loan fund. You might have some type of help for entrepreneurs. But when their business does not succeed, do you just say, pay us back? Or you just say, well, we're going to write that one off. And then the entrepreneur kind of goes away. And then if they come back with another idea, you look at them and say, I don't know, you failed before, you didn't pay us back. Why would we support you again? And so in our 4 pillars of relationships, engagement, entrepreneurship, and collaboration, we intersect those lines with values. We intersect those lines with how do you build the value that you want in your community? Because a person's sense of well-being is formed by the choices that they have, the security they feel, and the quality of life they perceive they have in their community. When a person has a great sense of well-being, it means they have a lot of choices. It means they feel safe, right? They have that security. We go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs in that of what is their basic needs: foods, housing, shelter, clothing, right? Those are the basic needs. That's security and quality of life. That is, how is your housing? How is your income? Can you do things that you want to do? Does your community offer the things that you want to do? Does your lifestyle offer you the things you want to do? That all needs to be supported by a community. And when you build those values with the pillars, the 4 pillars of Rural Community Solutions, we have when you build relationships and you provide engagement, opportunities for communities and for people to engage. You value them, you understand, you start to build trust. Without trust, entrepreneurs cannot survive. They will not be built. They will not be supported. An entrepreneur has to trust the community as much as the community needs to trust the business. It's that simple. It's a two-way street. If the entrepreneur does not trust your community to support him, if the entrepreneur does not trust your community and have a great relationship with people in that community, they will not stay in your community. They will find another place to live, and they will take their business with them, because we are not place-based businesses anymore. There aren't that many place-based businesses anymore. They will pack up and leave, right? Because entrepreneurs are taking their jobs with them and finding where they want to live, right? We're not going to go down that rabbit hole because we have many, many videos on there that prove that fact. specifically coming out of COVID, but prove that fact that people are finding where they want to live and then bringing their job with them. And so as a community, as you attract people to live in your community, we have worked in communities to where people define other people that live in their community that might have failed at one point in time in their life, and they're not back up on their feet. I don't know if they failed in a business, they didn't have support of a family, they didn't have support in their job, they might have gotten laid off, but they are on some type of government assistance program. We have worked with communities to where people that are on some type of government assistance program might have failed in something they have done, are defined as those people. Now, here we have people that have maybe stumbled, they've tripped, they've fallen down, and they want to get up, but they're defined as those people. So that's like a fighter in a ring being knocked down by the other fighter. And every time the fighter tries to get up, they're getting punched in the face again and knocked down. They don't even get to their knees, and they are being punched and knocked down flat on the carpet. They're not even given a chance to get on their feet. They're not even given a chance to rise up, dust off, and continue the fight. Is because that community keeps knocking them down and keep them going like this all the way down to the mat and not helping them up. And so as you create your environment, what you do with failure of those people, we consider those a marginalized group because you relegate the people that have failed. You relegate them by your judgment, by the way you view them. You relegate them to a specific corner of your community. And then you say, oh, it's those people over there. Right? Now, when I was going to college and I was going to school, I was a single father. I was raising two kids, two girls, and we were living in campus housing. But I was on food stamps. I was on AFDC, and that's how long ago it was. I was on AFDC.
A term that doesn't even exist anymore.
And I was on Medicaid, right? And so I was on government assistance. And when I went to the grocery store and I paid, and that time, food stamps wasn't a card, all right? It wasn't like a debit card. It wasn't a swipe card. They were paper documents that were twice the size, almost 3 times the size of regular paper money. So it was very, very clear what a person was paying for their food with when they put that down on the cash register. And so when I would go through the line and I would pay with food stamps, I would see and hear, I would hear people's judgments. I would see them by saying, okay, look, I'm going to judge what they are buying by what they're paying with, right? Because of people's values and people's perceptions of what that looks like. And so I was relegated. I was hit down on the mat and I was not supported. But I knew in the back of my mind, I knew that it was short term. It was a bridge from where I was to where I needed to go because I was in college. I was getting my degree and I was moving forward. And I had to swallow my pride as I had failed and then went into school as I had failed and then went into school. I had swallowed my pride to be on assistance program to help my kids. That's where that was. So I had to fight through that feeling with nobody else's help. I had to fight through that feeling of how do I build myself up? How do I support myself to move from where I am to where I want to go? Now let's fast forward. Have I failed again? Yes. Because when we had a restaurant and we had it open
About 10 years ago.
And during that time was the recession. Now, I'm not blaming the recession on anything. However, it
Certainly.
did affect people's discretionary income. And living in a town of 7,000 people and not having a huge market for the type of restaurant that we had, and to begin with, we had then filtered that down due to people's discretionary income being taken away. And so our restaurant, because restaurants are on a thin net profit margin anyway, our restaurant did not make it. But while we were open, we had one instance. This is just one of many, but we had that one instance of one person coming in with a cup of coffee from, I will say, another very, very fast food, popular chain of fast food restaurants that sometimes serves it. It's a restaurant there. It brought in a cup of coffee that they had reduced for 38 cents. That was a 38-cent cup of coffee. Came in with that 38-cent cup of coffee, opened my front door, leaned in and yelled at me, "I paid 38 cents for this. You're going broke." And then shut the door. All right. And that was a slap in the face because we had a specialty coffee at that point in time with this chain restaurant that we had, the franchise restaurant that we had, that we sold. Right. And so coffee for coffee, it was not even a comparison. But that was the support we got within the community. Now, we did get great support from other folks. We did get great support from how hard we had to work, because we also then, as entrepreneurs, figured out how can we survive and put a trailer on the road and went to 10 different communities every week, serving out a window. All right. And so we did try and do that. But along the way, people try to pull you down along that way. Now, this isn't a whining process. This is bringing awareness to your community. How do you support entrepreneurs? How are you supporting people right now coming through the COVID crisis? How are you supporting people right now that might not have been that have not recovered in their business? They might have lost their business due to COVID. They have closed their business down. And where are they? Do you know where they are? Do you know how to support them? Do you know what has happened to them? Do you know, how are you keeping track of them? How are you supporting them right now? Or are you just saying, once they get through this, we'll see where they're at? Another failure under their line. All right. And so as we're going through this process, there is a marginalized group in your community. It's called entrepreneurs. They're entrepreneurs. They are living their passion, offering that service, and moving forward. Those entrepreneurs are marginalized, but you're even marginalizing more by success and failure. If they fail, you knew they were going to fail. You knew they weren't going to make it. But if they're successful, then you start to support them. Is your community only supporting successful entrepreneurs? Right? Entrepreneurs need to be supported. All entrepreneurs need to be supported. All people need to be supported. Just because they might have a Medicaid card, just because they might be on food stamps, just because they might be on some type of government assistance right now, does not mean they're lazy, they're a loser, and they're a failure. You need to support people as a bridge. You need to support people and not knock them down as they're trying to get up. It's going to be a short show today. I just wanted to get that out. I wanted to talk about failure as an option. I wanted to talk about how do you successfully fail. But more importantly, I want you just to be aware as a community, specifically as a rural community, how are you supporting entrepreneurs and how are you supporting people going through this process, going through this last year? How are you supporting those people that might not have fared well or fared as well as you have. So I just want to say this. You can fight a mask, you can fight social distancing, and you can fight the economy. But when you are fighting that, you are not supporting entrepreneurship. You are not supporting entrepreneurs that are trying to live through the pandemic, get back to where their business can operate again, and move forward and start to grow. Because there's some businesses out there that are handcuffed from doing businesses just because people can't get together. So the more that you buck wearing a mask, the more that you buck getting back together, social distancing, and not taking the pandemic seriously, the more you are hampering businesses. And so just think of it that way. That's a little paradigm shift.
So today we wanted to just share a little bit about our experience with you, because as community and economic developers, we're not just preaching what we know, we are sharing what we've lived.
And so,
And that's why I haven't been talking.
That's right. She has a tickle in her throat today. And so I'm Frank Spillers. This is Kim Spillers. We're Rural Community Solutions, and we help communities design family-friendly, youth-centered places where people want to live. And so if you are wanting to attract people, if you are wanting to attract folks that live in your community, and you want to support those folks that live in your community, we'd love to help you design your community that attracts the folks that you want. All right. And so that is the environment. That's how you do it. We use the 4 pillars of relationships, engagement, entrepreneurship, and collaboration to build an entrepreneurial economy for your community. So come on back. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the very important infrastructure piece in your community of early care and education, and what's happening to get that back on track to help our communities and to help our workforce. Because if nobody's taking care of the kids, you don't have a workforce. All of a sudden, the pandemic has uncovered something that had been going on for a long, long time, and that is childcare and your workforce. So come on back, 11:30 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. We're at Rural Community Solutions TV live stream on YouTube, Rural Community Solutions Facebook page, or find us on anchor.fm/Frank Spillers for our podcast, Think Like an Entrepreneur, Become a Spark Plug. Until then, fail forward and support failure. Have a great day, guys.
Take care. Bye.